financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is not necessarily a fun one: disabled and now broke. Brian Small.
Good morning, Ken.
Jeffrey Linden.
Good morning, Ken.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Nice to see you, Ken.
Nice to see you.
What is it with
Disabled is your topic. Disabled is your topic.
Disabled and that
Broke is both of your topics.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to do it with a case study. Oh wait, before we do a case study, anything new in the Social Security disability world with COVID and the transitions?
A little bit. Actually, they're starting to crack the door open just a little bit in terms of just trickling in-person hearings. They've now set up for certain specific cases about having in-person hearings. We've been now for the past year and a half or so. Most of the hearings have been by phone. They also now have started a system that if you have, I don't know if it's Microsoft Teams or another program, that they're allowing you to start setting up video hearings in your office. But now they just came out with a memorandum saying in January they're starting to roll in just a trickle of in-person. Only the chief magistrate of each office will be doing these in-person hearings. They don't want many
Does
people.
that person decide how many they do or so forth?
I think a lot. I think there's certain criteria you still have to meet to get it, but they are starting to open the door just a little bit to allow people to come back in.
What's your preference? In person?
Well, here, it's a good question. So, for convenience sake, I'm loving being in my office, my phone. My client comes to me. We're on the phone with the judge, and I don't want to admit anything, but it makes nonverbal communication much easier with your client when they're with you and they get stuck.
Don't say that.
So it does. The fact of the matter is, if you're on video in your office, you lose that.
It reduces the bruising. Because when you're in person and you're kicking your client under the desk, they go, "Ow, why did you kick me?"
Exactly. My preference, though, is clearly...
It's never happened before.
Ever. Just hypothetically. My preference is to be in person. You lose so much in translation with being on a phone.
So
there's a lot of nonverbal communication with the judge, and they can see you and taste you, hear you, smell.
It's kind of funny because you're going back to in-person somewhat, and the United States Bankruptcy Court just issued an indefinite order saying we're staying virtual.
I think it's a question of what the judges want in the different sectors. They must. I think the federal judges are all in the bankruptcy and in the federal courts seem to like COVID protections of staying on Zoom.
And that's very important to note, because the judges, when we just had a seminar recently, the chief judge said there's so many of the judges that are considered at risk because they're above the age of 65.
Yeah, because they're older.
Right.
But I wanted to say, and what you were doing is just going back to the kicking and the nonverbal communication. I still remember this case where I had a client who was being deposed, and it was not going the way I wanted it to go, and I was trying to signal the client, and he kept saying things I didn't like. So finally I said, "I need a bathroom break." And so I go to get up, and I'm nudging him to go, and I finally said to him, "You need a bathroom break," to the client. And then I dragged him into the bathroom, and I said to him, "What is your problem?" I said, "I don't ever need to go to the bathroom. If I need to go to the bathroom, you need to go to the bathroom. And if I suggest, does anyone need a break, it means you need a break. Now, let's talk about what you're saying." And you go, it's just on and on. But that's how the game is played.
But my other practice, workers' compensation, we are back in person. Courts fairly normal. They're starting to conduct trials and everything else in workers' comp, although they're giving some exceptions. If one party is not comfortable or whatever, you could kind of phone things in. If claimants aren't comfortable, that too. But we are back to in-person for workers' compensation in the state of Michigan. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. All right, let's do a case study to kind of deal with this disabled and now broke. Our client is Rick. He's 53. He owns Rick's Landscaping and Snow Removal. He's had 3 employees historically. He's the owner and the worker. So this is a hands-on guy. He has an LLC. He pays in tax estimates. 2000 to 2019, he's been, the last 20 years up till 2019, earned a living. $100,000 a year basically. He was always being chased, though, by the tax man because he was always late on his estimates and trying to catch up. 2020 and 2021, COVID was very hard on his business. First they had the shutdown order, then it's been difficult finding help. He has back taxes, 2017, 30 grand, 18, 25 grand, 19, 20 grand, and 20, 10 grand. So it's about $85,000 in outstanding taxes. At the end of 2020, he had $85,000 in credit card debt. He does have a house worth $300,000. It's got a mortgage of $175,000, so he's got $125,000 of equity.
Is he married or single?
He is single.
Okay.
August 2021, tree falls on Rick while landscaping. His back is destroyed. He has not worked since the accident, does not think he's going to be able to work in the future. All of his employees have quit. Here's problem. He owes $85,000 in taxes. His credit card debt is now at $110,000 and growing because he has no income coming in. He's got $8 grand in savings left that he's just kind of holding on to because he doesn't know what his future is. It's not a good situation. First question, Jeffrey, walk us through. Can Rick get Social Security disability?
Yes, he can get it. It's a factor of if and when.
What should he do?
So, Social Security disability, or SSI, they're both similar type of benefits, are for people who are unable to work for 12 months or longer. You don't have to wait for 12 months, though, to be off and then file.
All right, so let's take a break and we're going to figure out, will Rick meet that 12-month rule?
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so Rick's in this bad state of affairs. Let's assume, for now, the doctors are saying he's never going to be able to work again. His back is, I don't know what the medical terminology is, but let's just say it's crushed. Okay. So what's the process? When does he call you to file his Social Security disability?
Well, we're gonna have two conversations. Right away, he's gonna call me, letting me know exactly what happened.
Hello, Jeff. This is Rick.
Hello, Rick.
I'm in bad state of affairs. My back has been crushed. I got no money coming in. My employees all quit. I'm calling you from the rehab facility. Sorry, Jeff. I'm calling you from the rehab facility. How can I get some disability?
Well, actually, I was going to question, since he was hurt, a tree fell him, it was likely while he was working. Not only is he going to be entitled to Social Security disability, but is he also entitled to workers' compensation?
Good question. So let's go Social first with regard to Social Security. So we're going to talk right away. He's going to tell me his problems. Certainly sounds like a very valid claim. It's not quite ripe yet. Social Security disability, again, 12 months or longer is you have to be off of work. But you don't have to wait the 12 months. Usually with my clients, unless they have permanent paralysis or unless they have a life-threatening disease, end-stage cancer, for instance, usually 5 to 6 month mark is usually when I'll start the process with my clients, because you want to give Social Security a reasonable amount of time that they've been off of work for Social Security to say, okay, you've been off for 6 months and we can see you have this horrible back problems.
So we're at 3 months right now. My injury was in August.
So I'd wait about 3 more months, because then you give Social Security enough time that you've been off, and they can see through the trajectory of your past medical what your future medical is going to hold, that it's more likely than not that this is going to persist at least now for the next 6 months. Whether or not that's going to be ultimately successful, no, but waiting at least 6 months gives you the best opportunity to be successful at the first level, which is your initial application.
So then we wait 6 months and then we file?
We file. Now, it's going to take several months. Eventually, you get a letter from Social Security. More likely than not, it's a love letter saying, sorry, we just don't feel you've been disabled. We think you can do other things. Once you get that letter, you have 60 days to file what's called a request for reconsideration, which is an intermediary kind of phase. No hearing yet. You submit more medical. They have more forms for you to fill out. Statistically speaking, most people still get denied at that level. It's very rare at this middle level they get
then what
approved.
happens?
Get another love letter saying you got denied. You have 60 days from that love letter to file what's called a request for hearing. These days, once you file a request for hearing, it's taking about, I would say, about 10 months or so to get a hearing with an administrative law judge.
Take me to the end. How long is the process before because I am disabled.
Right.
You know that because I'm the author of the facts, and I'm disabled and I'm not going to recover. How long before we'll be able to get a determination that I'm disabled and I get money?
Well, like I said, so once that second phase is, then you have a hearing, and then it's going to take another, say, 8 to 10 months to have a hearing. Once you have your hearing, you'll get a decision within 60 days.
So from start to end, how long are we talking about?
It's ballpark 18 months, I would say. They're trying to shorten it up a little bit, and they actually are doing a good job.
So I got an 18-month window I have to survive somehow, because you're not going to give me any money. Will you advance me any money while we're waiting for that, Jeff?
I will not, and I
can't.
know that these companies on TV that want to loan money, Social Security claims are certainly not a claim that they ever loan money in advance for.
Okay, so now go back to what Brian was saying. How does workers' comp fit into this?
Well, if he were an employee, he could get comp because he's an owner of a company. typically owners are excluded from workers' compensation. So the general answer is no, but if you are the owner of a company, what I'd highly recommend is either you opt into your policy, which you can do, or you buy a private disability policy that a lot of owners of companies have, similar to a workers' compensation policy, but it's a private disability policy.
You'd be surprised. People have a tendency to opt out because it saves them a little dollars on premium. But the amount is small of that premium in context to the claim value if you're injured. And look where you're at if you're injured, like in Rick's circumstance.
Right.
At best, he's got an 18-month window he's going to have to wait before he can collect on the Social Security disability. If you collect on both, does one offset the other?
So, yes. So if you're getting workers' compensation, then Social Security can take credit for what you're getting from another disability policy because they're equivalent benefits, wage replacement benefits for if you are disabled. So Social Security gets to offset what you're getting in workers' compensation.
Is it faster to collect on workers' comp than it is the 18-month wait on the Social Security?
It depends.
Sometimes?
Well, sometimes. Sometimes insurance companies are fine and will pay your claim right away. But as we all know, insurance companies are not your friend and like to hold on to premium dollars as long as possible. And so
quick question: if I have workers' comp and I'm clearly not able to work, and there's no real dispute that it's a work-related injury, the tree fell on me.
Comp would pay for it.
Well, the money that I get paid during the waiting period that I don't get paid for Social Security, that first 6 months,
correct?
That money I would get would be benefit to me, wouldn't be offset on Social Security, would it?
Correct. So with regard to Social Security, if you're entitled to Social Security disability, they assign you what's called a disability onset date. The law states for the first 5 months subsequent to a disability onset date, you are not eligible for benefits. Your benefits start the 6th month following a disability.
So if I settle with workers' comp, I should have as much of that money apply to the first 5 months, and then that way it won't go against my social, it won't be a credit on my Social
Well, you can only
Security.
do so much because you're limited at what your
Wages,
rate is.
yeah.
But what we're able to do, and I handle this all the time, concurrent cases with comp and Social Security, is we're allowed to make a lot of allocations as to what the dollars represent. So we're able to state a lot of non-economic damages, benefits.
So stated
for
another
that.
way, you're able to manipulate the numbers to make it work for your client?
Correct, because workers' compensation includes vocational rehabilitation, which is not a wage loss benefit, and workers' compensation
Yeah.
theoretically is
so
a
you
lifetime
put the
benefit.
money where it is so that it doesn't get set off against the workers' comp.
Correct, so you can get
All right.
both.
We'll take a break and then we're going to figure out, we got this 18-month window to survive, and what do we do about the credit card debt and the tax debt?
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation via teleconference, in office. We're COVID smart, but we can do it in the office, or we can do it through Zoom or on the telephone, whatever makes you most comfortable. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. We cover debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff. Again, just sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go online for our free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Ken Gross and Jeff Linden, Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, and Kirshner Law. Now, back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so Rick's got a problem. He's got no employees. He's got no income. He has $8,000 sitting there as his lifeline. He's got credit card debt, and he's got a little bit more of available credit that he's using the credit cards. But he knows he's got a year and a half before he's even going to see money out of the Social Security disability. How much will he see, basically, if he's making $100,000 a year all these years?
I'd estimate probably about $2,300.
A month?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so he's got to figure out how to live on that $2,300 a month once he gets it. And in 18 months, he'll get a big check, though, right?
So in 18 months, if he gets benefits, he'll get all his past due benefits. So we're talking about probably a year's worth of past due benefits.
So that's going to be a $30,000 check, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so what does he do about the tax liability? What does he do about the credit card debt?
So from the standpoint of eventually Rick will need a bankruptcy to get rid of the credit card debt, or we're going to make Rick uncollectible so that nobody can ever get to him. But the bottom line is Rick's got a problem with his too much equity in his house, and I can only protect about, once he's disabled, I can only protect about $60,000 for the equity in his home.
So you got a suggestion to solve that problem?
Well, we could, you know, he's going to end up borrowing money from family and friends if it's available, and if he does that, we could give whoever a mortgage on the property.
So let's say I happen to be Rick's brother, Jerry the bartender, and I go and I loan, Rick needs money because he's...
Rick is going to give Jerry a mortgage.
For how much?
For as much as is necessary to eat up the equity in the house.
So, or how much can he have in equity?
Well, as I said, from a bankruptcy standpoint, if he otherwise qualifies, he can have about $60,000 equity in the house.
So I loan him $45,000 on a note.
It's going to eat it up.
Okay, he eats up his equity. He takes that $45,000 and uses it for his living expenses.
And when it's gone, he files bankruptcy. And the reason why we have to wait to file the bankruptcy is we have tax liability that could be discharged.
That's what I want to find out. What about his tax liability?
Well, at the moment, his 2017 liability could be discharged in bankruptcy if he filed, but the other 3 years won't because they're not old enough yet, assuming it's income tax and not payroll tax. The other problem is the equity in his house. His likely resolution is to get him on currently not collectible status now based on his assets and income.
If I use that mortgage on the house, does that help solve that problem?
Not entirely, because the equity in his house, the IRS is going to look to satisfy what he owes, at least 80% of that equity. So if he could borrow more from his brother-in-law and eat up that equity with a mortgage, that would help. But the threshold for the bankruptcy qualification would be different than what the IRS would want.
So what we do is we decide how much equity do I have to get rid of to cover the tax man, and that's how much I need to loan Rick as his brother, take a second mortgage, get rid of the equity. The second mortgage, just so you understand, isn't a hoax. I'm going to give him the actual money. He's going to need that money to live on. I'm helping my brother. It's just rather than just giving him the money, I'm going to take back a mortgage to protect his equity in the house for his interest.
So we combine the tools of the mortgage, the currently not collectible with the IRS.
Because really you want to wait until how many years to get rid of all the taxes?
Well, we want to wait
three more years.
Yeah.
Well, we can make that happen, though, because he's disabled. The credit card companies are going to chase him. They can't collect the Social Security disability anyway, can they?
Well, the Social Security, as long as the money that's from the Social Security disability gets deposited into an account that only has that money in it.
And that's not going to be a problem for Rick, because he's not going to have any other money.
It's not attachable as long as you don't commingle it. So we work out a plan that gets him out of his tax debt, gets him his Social Security disability, gets rid of the equity in the house, and gets him a bankruptcy.
All right, I got one more question before we're going to wrap it up with all three of us. When he's going to get this $35,000 check, is it okay? In his case, he's going to get the check. That money will be gone and spent by the time we file the bankruptcy down 3-4 years down the road. If he could file bankruptcy right away, if he had zero equity in the house, then what you'd want to do is file the bankruptcy before he gets the check?
Maybe or maybe not. It all depends. The tax debt is going to control it. Every situation is different.
If he had no tax debt and he had no equity in the house,
$200,000 worth of credit card debt, we would file it tomorrow.
We'd file it before he gets the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if he had no equity in the house, he'd probably qualify for an offer in compromise.
Oh, there you go. So next problem. So Rick's biggest problem. You guys have a handle on the credit cards. You got a handle on the tax. You got a handle on the Social Security disability. Is how's he going to learn to live on $2,200 a month? That issue is a budget management issue, which we're going to talk about on our next show. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.